There may not be very many good tight ends out there for fantasy football, but you got to start one. Let's find out who we can trust. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there. And today we're talking about tight ends. It's probably one of the thinnest positions in fantasy football in like the last decade. There's just not a whole lot of decent options, but there are some names out there that can provide some value for you. Just because they're one of the top guys doesn't mean they're going to have a good week. You may be able to find production elsewhere. So let's get into some start sits for some tight ends. But before we do, don't forget, head over to RotoBaller, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell. Live shows are coming on Sunday. You don't want to miss it. But for now, let's talk about some tight ends, the football kind. Let's talk about a new starting tight end this year. Let's talk about Trey Burton of the Chicago Bears, who's going to be in Green Bay playing the Packers. Now, the Packers have the highest rated run defense in the entire NFL right now. They have 2 of the top 10 interior defensive linemen, and then they went and added Muhammad Wilkerson from the Jets. It's a great defensive line, and the Bears are going to struggle getting things going on the ground. Now, we've talked about it in the past. Mitch Trubisky is not ready to take such a leap forward that he's going to enter elite status by any means. That pass rush is going to cause him to make some quick throws. Usually in that case, the tight end turns into a safety blanket, and Trey Burton is going to benefit from it. Now, the Matt Nagy offense has compared Burton to being like a Travis Kelce light. I don't want to go that far and put those kinds of expectations on the kid, but they used the tight end in that offense, and they paid him big money to be a weapon. Now, Trubisky may not be able to supply all the weapons they have in Chicago, but Burton's going to be the most consistent. He's going to be one of the top red zone targets, and they're going to be forced to throw the ball to keep up with Green Bay. Now, Green Bay's offense isn't what it used to be, but I'm not putting against Aaron Rodgers able to put up some points, and that's just going to lead to Trubisky having to continue to throw the ball all 4 quarters. I like Trey Burton this week, and I'm starting him. Let's talk about a guy who's a little bit farther down the list. He may not even be owned in your league, but I would start him this week. It's Jared Cook at home against the Rams. And I know what you're thinking. Why am I starting him against the Rams? The Rams are one of the best defenses in football. You've told me to sit others against that defense. Why am I starting Jared Cook? Well, if there is a weakness with the Rams, it's their linebackers. And who's going to be covering Jared Cook on the majority of his routes? It'll be the linebackers. Now, is he going to go out there and have a huge game against the Rams? No, but the upside is going to be there. Talib and Peters will be, concerned with Cooper and Jordy on the outside. They're not going to be able to run the ball with Donald and Sue on the defensive line. It's going to be a lack of options for Derek Carr. He's going to have to throw the ball somewhere. Jared Cook may be the beneficiary of that. He could get close to 10 targets this week with a high touchdown upside if they can get in the red zone. I like the opportunity of Jared Cook as a sneaky play here for week 1. Next start of the week is going to be Jordan Reed of the Washington Redskins, who are going to be on the road in Arizona. Now listen, it looks like he's going to play. It looks like he's ready to go. And if he is, the upside is too much to ignore. You have to start Jordan Reed this week. That's why you drafted him. You drafted him because if he plays, he produces. And it sounds like he's going to play. I mean, they did their best to keep him healthy here in the offseason. I'm pretty sure he ran around in one of those like inflatable hamster ball looking things just to keep him from getting injured. And it looks like he's going to get a chance to play week 1. Alex Smith loves his tight ends. Jordan Reed is a huge red zone look, and Alex Smith is used to throwing to his tight ends in the red zone from his days with Travis Kelce. Now, neither defense is great here, Washington or Arizona. They could both put up points and have to throw the ball all game long. If that's the case, I like Jordan Reed's chances in this game to at least get a touchdown and possibly around 75 to 85 yards. If that's the case, he's a solid play for week 1 and somebody that I'm comfortable starting unless he gets hurt during practice this week. Let's talk about a few tight end sits now, and it's not a very deep position, and I'm going to talk about 3 guys who are probably in a starting lineup somewhere in your league. I just don't have that warm fuzzy with them this week, though. That's why I got them as sits. And the first guy I'm going to talk about is somebody who made the start show a lot last year. But this year he's starting off on the sit show, and I'm talking about Jack motherfucking Doyle of the Indianapolis Colts, who are going to be at home playing the Bengals. And I was listening to a podcast earlier in the week, and it's something you guys should go check out. I got the link down in the description. If you just go to Google and Google TravisNFLShow, he's got it on Podbeam and iTunes. Make sure you go check it out. Great podcast, great friend of the show. And he was talking about Eric Ebron and the value of he's taken away from Jack Doyle, and can they coexist or not? And I'm not quick to say that they're going to coexist yet. Now, Eric Ebron may not come out and be elite, but he may come out and do enough to take away targets from Jack Doyle that made him productive last year. Now, in the last preseason game, Eric Ebron had 5 catches for 54 yards and 1 touchdown. And that was with luck. What happens once the season starts? Does Andrew Luck stay healthy? We don't really know. And how productive was Jack Doyle last year? He had 107 targets and 80 receptions, but only 690 yards. He's not some elite tight end. He was consistent last year and got a lot of volume, and that really helped out, especially in PPR leagues. But for week 1, with the addition of Eric Ebron and the unknown of the Andrew Luck shoulder injury, I'm fading Jack Doyle for week 1, and he's on the sit list. Next up is going to be a guy who is pretty highly ranked here in the preseason. I'm talking about Evan Engram of the New York Giants, and they're going to be at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, if you've watched all my other episodes, you know that I haven't put any other Giants on this list. Evan Engram is the lone Giant that I'm sitting against the Jaguars. Now, the Jaguars have an elite defense, right? I mean, that's like the talk of the preseason. They were, the best defense last year, arguably. And Evan Engram is still in the concussion protocol from a concussion that he got back on August 24th. Still not practicing, limited availability. And he's missing a lot of key reps here to get him going to start the season. It's not like he's going to lose his job. But if he does play week 1, is it something where they leave him in to block a little bit more, to give Eli Manning some more help? Maybe help open up the running game or the passing game with the other options of Sterling Shepard and Odell Beckham or Saquon Barkley? It's possible. The pass rush is crazy in Jacksonville, and Eli's going to need every second he can get. Now, Engram was productive last year, but you got to remember, he was productive because Odell Beckham wasn't there. Sterling Shepard missed time. They didn't have Saquon Barkley. The offensive line wasn't as improved as it is this year. He may not be as involved in the offense this year as we assume he is going to be. He went really high in drafts based off of last year's production. I'm not so quick to say he repeats those numbers this year. I'm going to fade Evan Engram a lot this season, but I'm especially going to sit him here in week 1 at home against the Jags. Last tight end I'm going to talk about is somebody who I can guarantee is starting in your league on somebody's team right now. Hopefully not yours. I'm talking about Zach Ertz of the Philadelphia Eagles, who's at home against the Atlanta Falcons here in week 1. He was the favorite target of Carson Wentz last year, and he racked up huge numbers from the tight end position. But Carson Wentz isn't starting this week. It's Nick Foles. Under Nick Foles, he only averaged about 50 yards a game and only got 1 of his 8 touchdowns for the season with Nick Foles. Atlanta is known for their athletic linebackers. Their athletic defense as a whole should be able to contain Zach Ertz this week and make him a risky start. Not to mention that if Philadelphia can get a lead, they have the top-rated offensive line in all of football. Could they lean more on the run in the second half? Running the clock out, giving Ertz less opportunities, making him even more of a risky start. I know it's crazy to sit Zach Ertz. You probably spent a high draft pick on him. And if you have to start him, I understand. There's not a whole lot of options out there, but just know, going into it, it's a risk to start Zach Ertz this week. And if you have a better option, I have Zach Ertz on my sit list. All right, so those were a few tight ends, and I know some of them are pretty bold, but that's what happens when you have a position that's just not very deep. If I start talking about all the tight ends at the end of the list, you guys aren't going to care because you don't have any of them anyway. I had to include some of the guys that are owned out there to give you guys a perspective on the possibility that they may not do very good this year. If you have a question about somebody who I didn't discuss, hit me up down in the comment section. Really enjoy talking to you guys. Make sure you guys are liking, commenting, subscribing. Any questions? Looking forward to hearing of them. And I will talk to you guys later. Thanks. Good luck. Bye.